It is 1:03 according to my clock. I don't know if that's correct or not. No, 1:01. So we are right on time.
Oh, quick question. Is Jen Camp coming? Do we need Jen Camp here?
Well, I thought Jen was coming because I asked her to, she said she'd see me in a few minutes. She sent me the link because I couldn't get to it. So I hope she's coming.
I'm not 100% sure if we got an email this time around. I had to go look for it on the city site.
Yeah, it was on the city site.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I can only reach that site with my phone. I can't do it with my computer. So probably because I'm just not skilled enough, but not because it's not possible. It's just not skilled enough. Oh, thank you.
I know I sent an email with the agenda and the minutes. I think I sent them separately. And usually I think I paste the Zoom link right at the top of the email. And now that you guys are all talking, I'm like, did I do that or did I not? So sorry if it was.
I originally used the link that was in the email that you sent with the agenda, and it just had me sitting in a waiting room. Like it was like the meeting's already in session. It had me sitting. So then I had to use the link that was in the May agenda, and that worked fine. So I don't know if it's just a weird link or not.
Got it. Okay, well, we can officially welcome Shauna and Kim to the board. They were made official at the last meeting. So it is very nice to be able to welcome them officially to the Board of Trustees. And thank you to them for attending the last meeting and being there for that city council meeting. And then I don't see her up here, Jandy, but is Michaela available for you to introduce to us?
I don't see her in here right now. If she pops in, I'll jump in and we'll introduce her. If not,
she's stuck over with Jen in the Teams meeting. They're coming over.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll wait.
Oh, okay. Yes.
We'll wait.
Okay.
We'll wait till Jen and.
Okay, here they come.
To go forward. How do you know that?
It beeps at me to let.
Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Jen. I'm sorry about the
Hi,
weird
Jen.
thing.
Oh, Brad, I was just gonna forward you. I forwarded you the wrong one, but you're in.
But I'm in. I got in. I don't know. The one you sent me right off at the beginning. I used it. It got me here, so I'm here.
Oh, weird. So yeah, so Jandy, I have two Zoom meetings, one for Teams and one for Zoom.
Teresa was just telling us something weird with that.
Yeah, it's a Microsoft Office issue. So no matter what organization you work with, if you're using Office Suites and you set up an Outlook meeting, the invite will automatically allow participants to open a Teams meeting, even if it's in another format. So we could have a meeting in a whole different platform, but it would let the attendees be able to open it in Teams. It's really weird.
Well.
Okay, well, you're here, Brad. I was worried. I was gonna say, I gave you bad information.
Well, no, I made it, but but then you didn't show up and I was going, uh-oh, now what happened?
I was sitting in Teams waiting for you all to show up.
So is Michaela here yet, Jandy?
She was also in the other meeting with me. And I didn't chat with her because I thought we were just both sitting there waiting for you all.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully she can zoom in.
I'm just making sure I don't have an email from her really quick.
Okay.
Let's see. If you want to move on to mayor comment and public comment, we can do her right after.
Okay.
If that works.
Certainly we can. We can do that. I had the pleasure of meeting her while I was in the library last week, I think sometime. It's a very nice person. And I think going to be I know she's already been very helpful to Jandy and the rest of the crew there. So, okay. Well, first of all, we need to approve the minutes. Did everyone have an opportunity to read the minutes if there's no additions or corrections, could we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from April 13th, was it?
And a second?
I second it.
Thank you. All those in favor, show me your hand so I can say we all approve, and we do, so that's great. Thank you. All right. So now we're on to comments, and I noticed that we have 2 public members attending today. So I will ask if there are, I don't have any way of seeing the chat to see if someone has already asked, but I will ask. Jandy, do you have that available to you to see who is?
I have the chat open. I can let you know.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing in there right now.
No, okay, so Sharon, did you have a comment you wanted to make? I see you're here, so I'll just ask.
Not really a huge comment. I just want you all to know, librarian Jandy and the board, that I am very appreciative of your hard work and how professional and eloquent you have been over the past, forever, but at least since December, since I know you have had some hurdles come across. So I just want you to know, as a community member, I'm very appreciative of you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that comment. Thank you very much. Kathy, are you observing today, or would you like to make a comment?
Yeah, I just share those sentiments and just attending just to learn more about the library.
Thank you. Okay, so we can move on. Madam Mayor, do you have some comments you would like to share with us today?
Get all the right buttons pushed here. No, just here to support you guys. You know, I know the last meeting was a challenge, and I am addressing certain issues with certain people who are on the dais, and but you know, Janny and I have talked. She knows, I'm very supportive, and just like Sharon and Kathy said, just love all your hard work. Glad to have a full board back and working. And I said, I'm here just listening, and whatever, if you need any guidance on how to approach council on for the workshop next week, I'm here, and I'll just pop back in when you need me.
All right, thank you.
And I did have a question for Chris, but I didn't know if this is like, do I follow the agenda timeline and wait to ask my questions when they're more specific to the topics we're covering? Sorry, I'm trying to be official.
Yeah, Teresa, I think if your comment goes along with something a lot in the agenda, and unless the mayor's going to have to leave, and you have a specific question for her, if we could wait till then, that'd be great.
I'm here until 2. I think I've got another one at 2.
Okay, perfect.
So if we can't get that question answered before 2, let me know so we can make that, get over there so you can ask that question. Okay, so we're on to reports. So
Let's do Michaela.
Oh, okay, Michaela, where are you? There you are. Oh, wow. Yeah, woohoo. Okay.
So sorry for all the runaround, Michaela. We've learned that somehow things are automatically opening in Teams now instead of Zoom. So
that's okay.
Normally it's not that challenging to log into our meetings.
Right. No, thank you, Chris, for telling me. That was really helpful. So, hi, everyone. I'm Michaela.
Hello.
Hi.
Michaela, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm from Post Falls originally, so I've lived in this area for a while. I lived in Liberty Lake back in the day, and now I live in the valley. I am almost done with my master's degree in library and information science from Valdosta State University. Obviously, I really like books, or I wouldn't be here, and and I'm really excited to be part of the team here. So.
Well, we're very happy to have you on board and add that other librarian within the system. So that's fantastic. Anybody else like to say anything to Michaela?
No, welcome.
Welcome. Except
Welcome.
All right.
Well, thank you, everyone.
I just asked her to pop on so that you guys could all see her face in case you hadn't met her yet, but she is doing a fantastic job. We're so happy to have her. and she just got back from WLA on Saturday, which is the Washington Library Association conference.
Cool.
So
Andy, did you make her sit in the storage closet?
No. I just haven't gotten around to cleaning up stuff in the background here.
Okay, just
That looks familiar, kind of like the lunchroom / storage room / everything else room.
Yes. Yeah, this is all my programming stuff behind me.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're to,
thanks, Michaela.
Thanks, guys.
thank you. We're to Jen.
Let's see, what do you want to know?
What do you want to tell us?
Well, I'll tell you, and it looks like Jandy has it on here, so I won't elaborate and steal her thunder, but the governor's proclamation is going to be lifted as of June 1st for the requirement for remote meetings with the in-person option. It's going to flip-flop. So it'll be requirement for in-person meetings with option to have them remote still. So that will be an interesting change for everybody. I know we're scrambling a little bit. We're scrambling a little bit to kind of learn how to finagle our commission meetings over here at City Hall. So Jandy, if you need help, let me know. I can help you with that if you do so choose to go remote and in person both. That's what we're doing with our commissions. So it takes a little bit of adjustment and a little extra staff help, but we're figuring it out. Beyond that, I'm still here a little bit longer in this position, and it sounds like we have a few applicants that have applied for the city administrator position. So stay tuned, more to come as we go down the line, but we're hopefully wrapping that up soon, you know, maybe in a month or two. And I got a message from the mayor. Hang on a second. And then events are going strong, and we're really ramped back up event wise out in the community between city sponsored events and private events and all of those other events that we haven't had the pleasure to have for 2 years. So things are really busy. We have hired a communication specialist. So and I know, is there anybody here from Friends of the Library?
Yeah, well, yeah, Sue's here, but she's in the background.
Okay, well, and you might pass along that with our communication specialist now, he is pretty much full-time helping us get information out to the public. So whether that's an event that like the Friends may have, or they need help with getting the word out on things, we actually have a professional employee on staff who that's his wheelhouse, and he's fantastic. So if the Friends needs help spreading the word on things, let us know. He is amazing. And it's not just me or other staff shuffling that stuff around. He's full on, that's his thing. And he's also the staff liaison for the new Community Engagement Commission. So with that, I think he's going to do very well here. So
Cool, very good.
Send them my way.
okay. We'll help get the word out. Yep. So we can do that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for me? And I think Chris, you had something?
Yeah, I want, and let's have questions first. And I did forget there was something big I wanted to tell you guys. Nope. And Brad, if Sue's still around, she might want to listen.
Oh, okay, yeah, she's up next to give her report, but
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
fire away.
All right, so at the council meeting on Tuesday, I talked to the council about this discussion we're having with the Army National Guard about the 32-ish acres along 90 between George Gee and where the bridge is going to go in. So high level, National Guard wants to do a land swap with the Department of Natural Resources, who owns the land. That looks like it can happen. So along with an Army National Guard facility, I have learned that there are quite a few things that will be most likely part of that project that would be available to the public. So the first part I'm going to tell you, and then which is what the Guard talked about. And then the second part is what my plan is to talk to them about. So they'll build a full-size track. Keep in mind, Selkirk's down the street, they don't have a track, even though Ridgeline will be across the bridge. Could very possibly include a pool, community space, a commercial kitchen, and classroom space.
Wow. Fantastic.
So the pool part's kind of iffy. That they've got, that's kind of farther down the road. Obviously, whenever you're dealing with a government, as we all know, things move slowly. They did say that in some other cities where they have these facilities, they have provided room in their building for a satellite office for the PD. So of course that got my wheels turning. So the next part is me looking out down the road of things that I'm going to ask them if they're willing to engage in. So my thought, and I've already talked to the chief and lieutenant about this and ran this by them. My thought was, if we can arrange to move the entire police department to that facility, negotiate a nominal lease and a right of first refusal if they decide to leave that facility 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the road. First, they would have to go to a state agency. If no state agency wants it, then Liberty Lake at that point, if we can come up with this agreement, would have the right, have the first look at it and decide, yeah, we want to buy it or not. So again, down the road, but if we would move the police department over there, if that's something we can get them to agree to, guess what that does?
Holy moly.
It opens up the rest of that building. So again, I don't want to do with what people have done in the past and make this sound like a promise. It is something that I've got in my head that we have a follow-up meeting with them tomorrow. Jandy's going to be there as well because they talked about putting a museum in there and how they'd love to work with the library on a little museum in there. So don't stop what you're doing. But I just want you to know, and I've looped Mayor Pro Tem Follier into it, and he's going to be at the meeting tomorrow as well.
So you want me to?
We're all going to be showing our support tomorrow, along with the chief of the fire district, Ben Small from CVSD, a board member from the hub, Chief Simmons, and then all of us, so they can get those conversations going with the Department of Natural Resources to get the land. So again, longer term, things move slowly, but if I can get them at least in the conversation of the little bit longer term plan with possibly moving the PD, and then the ripple effects of that would be amazing.
That'd be huge. The ripple, that would be.
So is that the
really
tract of land on the other side of Selkirk, kind of like down from where the new Caterpillar is being built?
No, so it's actually on the east side of where the bridge is going to come in.
Okay,
So
yeah.
It's 32 acres.
Near Cornerstone or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of behind that. So if you look from the freeway at George Gee, you got George Gee on the right, and then 32 acres along the 90, and then where our bridge will go.
Wow.
So, hi, Tim, go ahead. I see your hand.
Just was wondering if this is, I mean, as far as what the National Guard is talking about, is this a couple of years? Is it a 5-year project? Is it a 2-year project? Is there any ideas?
You know what? Since they won't have to acquire the land, I think they're talking more in the 2 to 3.
Okay.
But like I said, we have an update meeting with them tomorrow, so we'll get a lot more information. I didn't want to share too much last Tuesday, though I did get the major and lieutenant colonel's permission to mention it in a public meeting, which is why I'm comfortable telling you guys here today.
Well, that's really, so will you have more information for the workshop that's going to occur on May 17th in regards to that?
I wouldn't want to rain on your guys's ask for an architect for that, because again, the possibility of moving the PD and then the ripple effect of library taking over that building, I still have to have that conversation with the National Guard and stuff. So I wouldn't, again, just something that's in my head, something I think that would work out. And, I don't know what the rules are about a state agency, allowing a municipality to have space at a state building. Those are all things that we need to work out. But I've kind of felt like when I left that meeting, they came in and said, we're the National Guard and we're here to solve all your problems.
So are they planning to use it as a training facility for themselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were real excited about the standards to which the roundabout and the extension of Cataldo Road going east and then up to Mission past Western States Cat, because those are going to handle the low boys. Those are the things they got really excited about, plus being so close to the on-ramps and stuff. The vehicles they'll be bringing in are wheeled vehicles. There will not be any tanks. So
Well, that's
you'll sleep better tonight hearing that.
yeah.
And city administrator, we had 14 applications, 7 were passed on to me. 2 of the 7 were not recommended for finalists, and which I totally agreed when I read through them, which left us to 5. I've pretty much taken at least one off, maybe two from there, just on paper. A meeting, actually talking with Katie tomorrow night, just to get her professional opinion. And I'm hoping to get with Mayor Pro Tem tomorrow afternoon after our National Guard meeting. So we'll have some eyes on it, and we'll have the discussion at the council meeting on Tuesday as to what the next steps are. And I'll come with my recommendation on meetings and whatnot.
That is exciting. Now, if they're willing to build an extra baseball field, that would be fantastic for Selkirk. Only because my son plays, and they have 7 baseball teams, so we are like all over the valley trying to play baseball games. So
Yeah.
Yep, I had to talk to the school district on that one, but Ben will be there, and I know he's short timer, but he'll be there. So we'll see what they say.
Yeah, that's really good.
Now I'm going back on mute, you guys. Sorry.
Okay, no, those
Chris.
are all good things. Thank you. Okay, so next, anybody have any comments about that before we move on? Okay, so next up is Friends of the Library, and that it would be Susan.
And I have to make an entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will move out of the way
Excuse me.
so she can move in the way.
Okay, this is our 3 things we have going, you know, the fellow you were chatting about, Jen. Presently, we are doing a quilt. Yeah, you would ask yourself, how many people need a quilt? We're hoping more than you think. Anyway, it's a beautiful quilt. It really is. And it hangs out at the library right now. It's doing time at Tratina. So if you think, well, I'd love to touch it, go down there and touch it. Anyway, we will be selling tickets to that. This is more like we don't use the word raffle because we don't say raffle. No, it's a drawing. We will have a drawing for this, and the tickets are 3 for $5 or $2 each, and it's a queen size. It's a beaut, and these ladies they have mad skills. I never could do that. Next fundraiser we have going on, because this is our fundraiser year, is of course the book sale. The book sale is June 17th and 18th. We piggyback, as you all know, with the garage sale to get it as many people as possible. Noon to 6 on Friday the 17th, and 9 to 3 on the 18th. And if you're thinking to yourself, why, gee, I'm just bored on Friday and Saturday because you just didn't really want to do the garage sale, feel free to come on down, and we'll put you to work down there at the library. And it's a lot of work, but actually we do quite well on the book sale. There's a lot of people who still want to read Jandy. I hope you know that. Okay, moving right along. And then comes the biggie that comes in July. That's our biggest of the fundraisers, July 13th. And we have 3 different ways to get tickets. See this nifty poster? Pat's got them, and her husband. They have mad skills. Anyway, if you look carefully, you'll notice the QR codes. Look at that, people. These will be lurking about town. And for those of you who like to use your phone to buy things, you just, aim and shoot and do it on your credit card. That's really wonderful. But also for those of you who say, well, I would rather write a check, pay cash. I just don't trust my phone. Feel free. We will also have these tickets printed for you and available at the farmers market. And where else did they say they want to have them? They'll be, Sharon Sell is in charge of ticket sale. So if you see her anywhere and you say, I'd love to buy a ticket from you, I'm sure she carries them with them and doesn't leave home without them. So, and if push comes to shove, you can always call me or the Bradford, and we will get you a ticket. The 13th at the soiree is a lot of fun. If you have any questions in regards to this event, I don't see Tom. What's the deal? Is he traveling incognito there? What is that?
Yes, he is. He's just listening in.
Hi, Tom.
Sue, I just shared David's email with you. I
Thank you.
introduced you over email, so feel free to send him any of those
Oh, yeah.
graphics, and we can share that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Excellent. All right. See you. Bye. Moving on.
Thank you.
Sure. Oh, wait, here's your agenda. I just stole it.
Yeah. So the soiree is really a lot of fun. Last year was a great event, and hopefully, this group puts a ton of work into it. And so anyway, we can help out. would be a good thing. So by talking it up or coming ourselves to be there and supportive would be cool, and meet a lot of people. One of the things I like about it the most is it's multi-generational. It's pretty cool. It's not just for one element of our community. So
Over 21.
over 21. But there were some children out there playing cornhole last year though, so that was cool. All right, so now we are on to city council, and Tim.
The last city council meeting was mostly talking about the book. So I don't have a whole lot to report there. I think everybody kind of knows. It was I think it was very well vetted. I'm not going to get into the details of that just because we kind of know what happened, if that's okay. They're
Sure.
still working on, let's see, a couple of highlights. I'm just going to go after a couple of highlights. The City Engagement Commission is going to be at the farmers market. It's going to be an interesting farmers market this year. I think I just saw the list was published the other day about all the businesses going to be there. It's going to be incredible. So something we want to definitely see. The mayor was working on some talking about the future of STA within how we work with Kootenai County and the city and how we link that up with Spokane Valley. I think it's kind of a neat deal. There's a lot of construction going on. Make sure you check the city site before you go anywhere anymore. I just got stuck over Country Vista trying to get to the meeting. Let's see here. The financials, Kyle talked a lot about cash flow, moving a lot of money, moving around, using lift and TIF money, looking at all kinds of different things for all the construction that we have going on. Let's see here. Janny gave a great update. We already have that. They're working through a service for city council called Granicus. It's a way to record voting stuff for and during city comments for city council members. The Spokane Fire Department gave an update on the number of calls that they're going through right now. Let's see here. Mark Saba gave an update. He is the community engagement commissioner that's reporting to the city council, it looks like, and he gave an update also. They reviewed some more AARP, I should say, or ARP funding requests for the city. Those are the American Recovery Plan dollars. And sorry for kind of a jagged, I just realized when Brad was finishing up there that I had, or Jenny, I was next, so I just kind of wasn't really prepared. So please forgive me. That's all I have to report right now.
All right.
Is there anything associated with the ARP funds that the library has requested funding for?
So we did a request last year for monies to buy those laptop and hotspot kits. Kyle had me submit a list of items at the meeting last Tuesday, so I submitted that to him. So I had about $35,000 worth of things that I was looking at. Some of them are things I've already mentioned to you guys that are kind of on our capital budget for this year. But my main thing is children's furniture for the children's room, and then outfitting our new meeting room that's up front in the library, the learning center, we call it right now. So getting like a big TV in there that you can wirelessly hook up, HDMI, put your laptop in, a big whiteboard, just basically turning it into a nicer study room, big kind of like conference table and chairs with outlets that people can plug their laptop in. So just making it a much more functional meeting room. So those are my two big requests for that.
Is that on the back end of the building near the checkout desks?
Yes, right up by the checkout desk. I'm also hoping that we can get our new maintenance guy to just paint it, just because it's like a really dark blue shade, and then there's no windows in there, so it just feels like a really dark cave. So those
All right,
were.
that
on my
sounds
list.
pretty, that sounds like some good things to request. That
Mhm.
space there really needs to be utilized, and that would be a great way to do it. So Janny, that brings us to you anyway, because I missed asking you earlier on to give your report to us. So I'm sure that was part of it, but go ahead.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just pull this up. Let's see.
Well, she pulls that up. Are you guys okay if I ask Chris a clarifying question?
Sure, go ahead.
Just from the meeting. So I was just trying to figure out, because I'm still, new, so I'm learning the different ins and outs of our board policy. But I was curious, do the new council members, as far as I understand with the positions of power in the different departments, the council really just approves our budget, right?
That's what we're trying to find out. So
Okay.
the ordinance that established the library and the board of trustees goes back to, where was it? There it is. I keep all my commission ordinances literally here in my hand. October of 03. So it's a little ambiguous. One section makes it sound, one section where it is, approved contracts related to the public library, including but not limited to the acquisition, sale, or disposition of any of library property unless otherwise delegated to the mayor. You can interpret property in multiple ways. To me, property is furniture, fixture, and equipment. To other people, books might be property. And then there's a couple other things that are pretty ambiguous. So we still need to get a couple of those questions answered. I think going over this ordinance and updating it needs to be done, though I don't want it to be a quick knee-jerk reaction to what we've been going through the last several months. We want to make sure we do it in organized and well-meaning fashion. So
Okay, yeah, and that's what I was curious about. I assume the city lawyers helping with getting that kind of.
well, and yeah. So we're looking at it, and like when I mentioned it to Councilmember Cargill after the meeting that night, he said, well, then we're leaving that in the hands of non-elected officials. I'm thinking, well, you guys confirm them, so you're putting your power into them by confirming.
Since we're appointed, yeah.
Big rap.
Yeah, can I wait? Teresa, could you say again, repeat your question for me one more time, please?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted a clear understanding of the city's position when it comes to power within the library. I was assuming it was just budgetary purposes. So just because a lot of policy was brought up about them reviewing policy, and I wanted to make sure, I didn't know what that separation of power was.
Right. If I could weigh in just a little bit, that was part of the discussion today. We wanted to review our collection development policy. It's going to take more than today to go over all of that, look at the different sections of it, decide how we want to address each one of those sections. That's my opinion. Anyway, that I don't think we should rush through that, any decisions about changes or whatever, but we should review it very carefully. We're not a governing trustee board. Because we are the library is a department within the city. It's a municipal library. So we are an advisory board to the council. But we, Jandy, or whoever the director was at the time, or whoever it becomes a director, we charge them with developing policy, collection policy and all those kinds of things. And then we review it and put our stamp of approval or say, no, we need to look at this and change it in a different way. And I agree with Mayor Chris in that it's a little bit ambiguous about the role of the city council in that policy making process.
But here's the thing. I see that I've got the ordinance open too, and it says approve contracts related to. So
Right.
the contract would be not for specific items, it would be a contract with book publishers or a contract with, they're not approving every single little thing. They're approving the budget and they're approving, say, a contract with the vendor being used to provide software to the library. It's not ambiguous there.
Well,
It's
not there,
true
but
contract.
I believe there are others. This is my opinion again. I believe there's some other sections that are because we are not a governing board of trustees, we are an advisory board of trustees to the city council. And the library is a department under the city council. I think that's what puts it in a little bit more of a gray area as far as who gets to put a final stamp on the on a thing, but we
I
aren't
don't
there
think
yet.
we have any past history for the last 20 years or whatever of the council approving any of our policies.
That's
So
a
if you
good-
look at the precedents, they
Yeah,
haven't
if you-
approved any of our policies. It's just been the board. So
Right.
that's to me what makes me think it's just financial.
Yeah, well, that's precedent for sure.
It doesn't
And
mean
I-
that the council members won't try to change that, because from a layman's standpoint, I think some of them are reading things into some of this stuff. I get it from a legal standpoint, it's pretty clear, but I'm trying to get into the heads of one or two people and, well, whenever we buy something which is driven by the policy, and in fact, that's by default a contract, even though if it's a $12 book, it doesn't necessarily come to the council, but then that's ruled by the financial policy. So I just think, if we can make it much more clear so that nobody asks those questions in the future.
So
I think it's a stretch to make those interpretations, but I understand that people like to stretch.
Yep.
I mean,
It'll be interesting to see if they're gonna look at every policy we have. It'll be interesting to see them argue over which color rake to buy for the Parks Department, because they're gonna have to get involved in every decision.
well, yeah, and not only that, but okay, Jandy looks at, well, the librarians look at hundreds of thousands of books and recommendations and lists. And if that's what they want their full-time job to be, to look at all of the books that are available every single month and make a report as to why this one should be purchased over that one, and then approve it, and then also go through the list of every adult book. That would be anything not classified as children's or young adult, I'm assuming, and individually make decisions as to which one should and should not be put in
Right.
certain sections, then good luck with that. But the ordinance itself says the management of the library, the management shall be vested in the board of trustees.
Board of trustees, right. Okay, so can I put a halt to this discussion for just until we get more down there a little bit and let
Yep.
Jandy finish her report, and then we'll come back to this. Is that
And I
okay?
apologize for opening up again. I was just wanting more clarification myself, so
I
I
get
did
it.
not mean.
Yeah, and I weighed in on it. I could have just stopped right there and said, but so sorry. So it's Jandy's floor right now.
So I just wanted to give you guys an update on everything that's happening at the library right now. I have our monthly report that I give to the city council that I wanted to show you guys. So this is the report for April. So it has a list of how many checkouts that we had. We've been hovering around 6,300 for the last several months. Our renewals, the amount of books that we lend to other libraries. I'll send you guys a list of this if you want to look into it more deeply. The amount of books that we borrow from other libraries. The amount of books that are coming back into the library. We're having a really good flow right now. During COVID, it was a little bit tight where, people couldn't come and browse the library. So our shelves were quite full. And now we're back out to a good equilibrium where our shelves aren't completely packed and you're able to move stuff around a lot better. So that's been awesome. We have had really good attendance at story time until this last month in mid-April, I want to say. Spokane County Library District and Spokane Public Library weren't doing in-person story times. So our attendance was really high. And now those places are opening and doing more story time. So now I would say we're back to where we usually are for story time. We are a little bit low on programs this last couple months just because Michaela hasn't been here, but that's going to pick up back again in May. The other thing I wanted to mention to you guys is we're looking into getting wireless printing for the library. So right now you have to log onto a computer and print the stuff that you want to print out, or they have to send us an email at the front desk and then we print it out for them. But we have found out with our software that we use for patrons to log on to the computer, it's called Envisionware, that they have the ability to do wireless printing through an app. And so it's not super expensive. It's only about $700 for the first year. And then after that, it's about $500 a year. Our patrons have really been asking for that. So that's something that we're looking into getting either later this year or the beginning of next year. So I'm really excited about that. The Valley, we had called them, Spokane County Library District, and they had a third-party app that they were kind of using to do it, and it was a little bit more cumbersome. So we're happy with the product that we found because we think it will be really easy and really help our patrons a lot. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Erin and Michaela, I sent them both to the Washington Library Association conference. It was in Bellevue this year. That's the first conference we've been able to attend since, I want to say 2018 was the last time we attended a conference. And so that was really wonderful to send them to that. I'm going to be going to a directors conference with the other directors in the state. We try to meet twice a year. We've been earlier this year, we did it on Zoom, but in September, we're going to be meeting in person at the Spokane Public Library. So everyone's going to come over for that. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. Okay. But I will send this report to you guys so you guys can see it as well. If you like to look at numbers like I do.
Jandy, do you know, is anybody in the kind of consortium of CIN attending ALA?
I don't know. I want to say ALA is like out in Washington, DC this year.
It's in DC. It's at June 23rd through 28th.
I'm not sure. I know that we have our CIN monthly meeting next Wednesday. So I could definitely find out if anyone else is going from the consortium to that.
Are you going?
I had not thought about going to ALA, but yeah.
You didn't mention it, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah. So I've heard their conferences are quite spectacular. So I hadn't thought about going just because it was in DC.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a long trip.
So I think that's everything that I had, unless anyone has any other questions. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jandy. All right, so now we're on to ongoing business and community assessment workshop, May 17th council meeting. The library is on their workshop agenda, and I believe it is in regards to our presentation that we gave 2 meetings ago. And I'm not sure what the further discussion will include, but I think if there's, we just need to continue to as a board, this is my opinion, and we can all weigh in, that we should continue to remind the council of the state of the library and that we need to have a plan moving forward. I read something in the paper yesterday that kind of stuck on me. Cities that study everything to death and then don't do anything about it. You know, there's a lot of that happens in a lot of cities, and I'm hoping we can encourage our city to, you know, use the study, use the information that we have given them to develop a plan moving forward with the library.
So I'm prepared to weigh in more on the library grant, because I noticed that caught the attention of several councilmen. I know Councilman Foyer was asking me questions about it. So I'm prepared to answer more questions about that. And I think we need to have an ask, whether it's just say, hey, you guys approved with the budget this year that we could hire an architect. Are you cool if we do that now and bring back an action, agenda bill action item? Chris, Jen? Is it an action item or an agenda bill?
An agenda bill is just like your introduction to the action item.
Okay.
So yeah, action item.
So if we ask for
Yes.
a architect, I think we need to be pretty clear about what we're asking the architect, asking them to ask the architect to do.
So I think with the council, we just have to get their approval because they hold the purse strings. So just say, yes, we
Correct.
can hire an architect. And then I don't know if we would have to send out like a RFP with Lisa. I know she does a lot of those. I haven't done one, but I know her and Jen and everybody have done one. So we'd have to,
Really, before we hire an architect, don't we have to have a space in mind, like either that we're gonna build a new building or we're gonna refurbish a building that's currently empty in Liberty Lake? I mean, doesn't there have to be a direction to send the architect?
It's a space needs a let for our existing space, how to do it better.
so taking a look at the library that we have today and seeing what we can, how we can utilize the space better or
Oh,
what
I
changes
see.
we can make to the space.
Mhm.
I know a lot of the council members have liked to speculate on options that we have for the library. So this way we would have a rock solid professional opinion of,
Oh,
yes, you can
gotcha.
move the wall here,
Third-party
or yes,
expert.
you can do this. Yes, no, you can't do that. So I
Right,
think that
so-
would be beneficial too.
Okay, so I just heard what we want the architect to do for us in regards to the library. And I think that's important that the council here is
Mhm.
that the architect, we're asking for them to do a particular thing for us so we know how to move forward or if we can move forward with this particular building. I think that's good. I thank you, Jandy, for expounding on that. That's good. Yes, Chris.
Just a thought, an additional thought, that while you're asking for the architect to take a look at, what we can do with the current space, even if it involves bumping out a wall or something like that. I would suggest you guys consider also asking to hire a professional organizer to help with the storage rooms. I was really afraid something was going to fall on Georgette during the videos. So, Jandy,
I think that's genius.
yeah, you and your staff don't have the time, you have other things to do, you don't have the time to embark on that. So if there's, and I don't even know where you go to get a qualified professional organizer. There are a lot of people who call themselves that days, but I think that would really help you guys. How can you better utilize your storage space to get, to fit more in, more organized, to save time and be more safe. It's amazing at City Hall, we were able to clean out 2 file rooms and one space where people were just tossing stuff and make room for 4 more employees. So everybody, just like me at home and here in my office, holy cow, I've got 4 years worth of Halloween outfits under my desk at my office because I just don't have time to go through and clean out. So, you guys have your core competencies, let somebody else whose core competency is the organization take care of that for you guys.
And a fresh set of eyes. Why haven't you done this? Oh, yeah,
Good-
that's
good
genius.
suggestion.
Did the city bring somebody in to do that? Do they
Yeah,
have a
that would be
recommendation?
another RFP, have somebody quote it and I would say, and part of that would probably be, I would invite them in to take a quick look before they do any quote, so they can even come forward with a couple of, hey, these are things I'm thinking of as part of the proposal.
Yes, so I think those are both really good ideas of things that we could ask the council for next week.
Okay, that's good. So we have a plan going into that meeting. I like that. And we have 2 asks during that workshop. I think that's good. Anybody else want to add to how we should go into that meeting with the council at the workshop?
I think we need to make sure that it's limited to the workshop is not a general library workshop to go over policies and procedures,
Yes.
but it's to address these specific.
That we stay on the task of the
Yes.
needs of the
Yes.
library in terms of the facility. And yes, got it. Agreed. Okay, so next on the list is book reconsideration update. I don't think we have to hash that out anymore. Is there anybody that feels like we need to? I think we know what the update is, that the the board's decision was upheld by the council. And we could go into all the kind of the discussions. I don't think that's necessary. Just the most important thing is that the policy and the decisions were upheld. So the next one is what we were discussing earlier, and that is the collection development full policy review. So does everybody have that in front of them? Jandy, I'm going to let you start off the discussion with this, if you would, please.
So let me get the collection development policy in front of me. I opened up my report, but I didn't open up that document.
And the reason why, I mean, Jandy gave us a book reconsideration policy last meeting for us to review. And after the last meeting we had discussion that Jandy and I had, we thought it'd be best to review not only just that, but review the entire collection policy and make sure that we have thoroughly reviewed the whole thing and then come up with any changes and a rewrite if that's necessary going forward. Does that kind of summarize our discussion, Jandy?
Yes, so I just wanted to, I felt like we were hearing from the council and the community that they wanted a full review of the entire policy. Our policy was last updated in October 2019. This policy was specifically October 2019. In 2019, the board at that time did a full review of every library policy that we have. So it's not a document that we haven't looked at in 10 years or something like that. It's almost, so it's 2.5 years old right now. But I thought it would be good if we went through the entire policy. I felt like there was a lot of questions from people in regards to different aspects of the policy, how we select materials, the number of criteria that we look at when we're selecting a material, restricting access to certain materials. So I thought it would be a good time for us to do a really big deep dive on this. One of the questions that I had when looking at the policy was in section, so let's see, we have collection development policy. And it has the board recognizes that there are individuals and groups with diverse interests, backgrounds, ages, needs, and that the library is created to serve all of these people within the community it serves. The policy reflects our mission, vision, and values and strategic goals. The board adheres to the First Amendment of the Constitution, the Library Bill of Rights, the Freedom to Read Statement, the Freedom to View Statement, which is more about media, and then the Washington Library Association's Intellectual Freedom Statement. Something that I thought we needed to focus on is this next paragraph where we talk about how customers are free to select or reject materials for their own use or for the use of their minor children. The freedom of others to use the library collection will not be restricted. Parents and guardians have the right and responsibility to guide and direct the use of the library collection for their own minor children. Library staff do not serve in place of parents in guiding the children's use of the library collection. So when I was looking at different policies from around the state and from our region, something that I thought we could consider with our policy is referencing different laws or ordinances or that sort of thing. I found that the Coeur d'Alene Public Library, I think I linked it in my email for you guys. They reference specific codes and ordinances that their library has to follow. So their state does have restrictions for some things with pornography or access to minors, and they reference that in their policy. So I thought that would be helpful and something that we could consider doing in our policy, depending on what we find. Shauna did a deep dive on the ALA's page, And I know she sent out an email to you guys about that. Shauna, do you want to like briefly summarize that for us? Because I thought, and I know me and Teresa were talking about this as well with some Washington.
Yeah, I
State
found
notes.
some WAC reference too, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and then some of the comments from the city council on the book, the specific book that was being brought forward was appropriate too. I mean, the RCWs has a very specific definition of what is considered pornography, what is considered appropriate. So I don't think it's a bad thing to reference those ordinances. The case law is there's numerous case law out there that references restricting access to certain materials based on age, based on are they a minor, is it in a school district, and the case law is pretty clear that you shouldn't. Even children have First Amendment rights, and mentions, many of those cases mention, look, if you don't want it, don't check it out. It's up to parents to parent their children, not the library. And while a case that's decided in Texas is not necessarily guiding, it's not precedent for Washington State. I can't imagine that Washington State would have something more onerous than Texas. So I think that the policy as written aligns with case law that is out there. I don't think it's a bad idea to reference specific ordinances, and I'm happy to go through and look up some of those ordinances and that might apply. But I think that Jamie did a great job with that too.
So Teresa, tell them what you found.
Go ahead, Teresa.
Oh, sorry. I just had a couple of clarifying questions, and then maybe Chris can answer for me. So I know a particular council member has been in the comment section on Facebook noting as a council member that they plan to do a workshop in 2 weeks and they want the community involvement in this full review process. So can we do the review process on our own, or has the council decided that they're going to do a workshop separately?
So we don't have a future workshop on the future agenda list at this point.
Okay.
In my mind, there are baby steps to be taken. One, letting the council know, that they don't have say in the policy. That could end it right there.
Yeah.
But no, like I said earlier, the wheels of government can go slowly, and sometimes that's by design. And we need to take our time to gather the facts and present, at some point the case. I hate to put it that way, of this is the plan, this is what we're tackling, and no, council, based on these things, the council only has say over the budget, and the board works on the policy.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I just wanted that clarification, because I know, and it's newer council members, so they may not understand the reach that they have in general. And there's another question, with regard to just a conflict of interest of council members posting onto Facebook or moderating community pages as a council member. So I just wanted to make sure that we can continue having this conversation, because I feel like we should do it at length. And I just didn't know if we need to incorporate those people or not. So
Yeah,
Kim?
keep the council out of it until it's time. And I'm really sorry, I've got to
Thank you.
jump to
Thank
another
you.
city meeting, guys.
Thanks
Okay.
for
thank
stopping
you
by,
so much.
Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, Tim, did you have a comment?
I had a comment. I just want to make sure I understood Shauna thoroughly. It sounded as though, I think I've had conversations with council. We talk, there's lots of people talking, but I think that some of them would have been satisfied had there been a checkout policy different for certain books than for all books. But from what I think I heard Shauna just say is that that's a violation of youngsters' rights as the First Amendment looks at them. Is that what I heard?
That is what you heard.
So a 5-year-old has the same rights as a human that an 80-year-old does, which I think
Yes.
makes sense.
And the assumption is that a parent will be there with the 5-year-old,
Okay.
parenting that 5-year-old and checking out what books they bring home. That's the assumption.
Okay, I think that's clear as, I mean, it's clear as glass to me. So Jay, I have a question for you though, with regards to this policy. Somebody made a comment. I don't know, I read all the community pages. I'm just kind of fed up.
It
with the
gets
whole
kind of
thing.
jumbled, I know.
But what has Ridgeline done with their copy? What has the other libraries?
They
the city
removed it
libraries
in
done with their
February.
copy?
Oh,
What's
sorry,
that?
I can answer that. The librarian
Okay.
removed it in February
Was there, do we know? was there-
without, and it was without a request. She just removed it in February. I don't know. So, and I think it
Interesting.
may have
So-
just been I don't know, a review of current societal issues and then choosing not, just to, as a preventative
Yeah.
tactic. I don't know.
I think,
Oh.
Lisa, you might be right. While you're in public education, I was in public education for a long time. I think probably she removed it just so that things didn't go south, with the board and everything.
Spokane-
else.
Yeah, does Post Falls have it? I mean, they're part of the CN, I guess, but does Spokane County have it? I'm just wondering, who are people around us? Are we the
So that's something I wish I could have clarified in the meeting. I was waving my finger, but obviously everyone's talking and sometimes people don't see you. I tried to clarify that we belong to CIN, and currently, as of the meeting, we were the only library in CIN that had a copy of the book. However, Spokane Public and Spokane County Library Districts both have several copies of the book.
Okay.
So I think the comment was made that we're the only one in the Inland Northwest, and that was not correct. But I don't know how much that matters to people, but yeah, the county
Yeah,
has
so
several copies
between
and the
us
public
and
library
Kootenai
has.
County, between us and Kootenai County, we are the only ones that had it.
have a book,
Yeah.
one book?
Yes,
And so the other question is, where's the book today?
it's checked out.
Okay. Have you guys started talking about the fact that's gonna get checked out, it's gonna get thrown away, and they're gonna pay the fine, and we have to go buy another one? I mean, that's,
I've offered to pay to replace that book as many times as it needs to be replaced.
I just have a feeling we're not gonna have that book in circulation for long if people are that
It
passionate.
has several holds on it. So last I looked last week, it had 6 holds on it. We have books in the library system that have 100 holds on it. It's just that is a high hold ratio for an adult biography. So I don't know the next time that we'll see it.
I don't think we'll see it again for a long time.
Yeah.
Are we a fine-free library?
Yes. So we don't have fines, but if you check out a book and you do not bring it back, you will be charged for the full
Replace it.
amount to replace the book. So,
And when
So,
does that come into effect?
so if the patron hasn't returned a book and it's 30 days, so they check out for a month.
Mhm.
Once the book reaches 14 days overdue, so they've had it for, I guess that's 6 weeks,
Mhm.
they get a loss notice. And there's a process that it goes through until it's that they have to pay for it.
And Shauna, that's a relatively new policy about the fine free. That's since
Oh, yeah.
COVID.
Libraries across the nation are all having fines removed. It's an access to material issue.
We're hip like that
I think
too.
it's a great idea.
so Jandy, in this paragraph,
Mhm.
you want us to consider making reference to specific
Code,
RCWs or codes that relate to usage of the library by minors and whoever, by patrons, period.
so it would just
And
say,
I let Jandy know I live in the WAC because I am a special education director. So constantly I'm writing legal documentation for IEPs and reevaluations and PWN, all of that stuff. So I told her I wouldn't mind going through the policy and just doing WAC references because I'm so familiar with that website already. So
Oh,
Which is
very
wonderful.
good.
I can
Thank
handle
you,
that piece of
Teresa,
it.
Yeah, thank you,
Worth its
Teresa,
weight in gold.
for will be willing to do that. So I did notice in one of the other policies you sent us, Jandy, that they
Yes.
made reference to minor usage, and they made reference to one of the organizations. I think it was the ALA, and that particular library was aligned with the ALA's freedom, minor freedom to read something or other that was in their Bill of Rights or something like that, I think. So
Yes.
I think those kinds of things that if we make reference to would be good. So, and Teresa, you said you're going to do that. Great. So Janny, if you could go through here and make any reference to any others areas that you would like to have us review more closely.
So the thing I wanted us to review at the next meeting is the portion of the policy that references, so right underneath it, it has, let's see, the selection of materials.
Can you-
So
can you say that again?
that has
Okay.
all the aspects that a librarian looks at when we are reviewing a book to be put on the shelf.
Mhm.
I wanted to look at some other libraries to see how our policy compares to theirs and the number of so in our policy, it says one or more of the following selection criteria must be met for the material to be added to the collection. So I want to deep dive on other libraries and how many things they want, how many boxes they want checked when they're looking at a material, and if there's anything else that they look at when selecting material that we don't. So that's what I'm going to do some research on. And if you guys want to do some research on that as well, so we can review that portion of it at the next meeting.
At the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so I know, I do know that there's one council member who really hammered this point. Wanted to know exactly what you used for, or whoever made the selection, what they used for the criteria. So that's a really important one for us to make sure that we have really delineated for anybody that's gonna, that wants to go down our book reconsideration path again.
Yes.
Is that the last part that you wanted to really take a deep dive into?
Yes, so that's what I wanted to deep dive in onto today. So I'll be looking into that portion of it, and I'll be working with Teresa and also Shauna if I on like the WAC portion of it.
Okay, great.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
How are books brought to you to review? What's the process? What's the filter? Or is it something a patron can request? They say, oh, I heard about this book. We need to get it from the library. Does it go both ways?
So we have a vendor that we buy all of the majority of our books from, Baker and Taylor. They're a national book vendor. Ingram is another really big one for libraries. So they have selection lists where they will put together lists of new materials that are coming out for the next month. So they'll have lists organized by topic. They'll have lists organized by age. So since I do all of the picture books and the chapter books, it will give me lists of for the next several months of books that are coming out. And then it also includes in it different reviews from different vendors, not different vendors, from different review sites. So Kirkus Review is a really big one. For the adult books, New York Times bestseller lists, School Library Journal. A really big one for children's books is Host, not Host, Hive, Hatch, something to do with a bird. Now that something to do with a bird, where it has lists of reviews of books that are coming out. And then we'll look at different like websites, different bestseller lists, different publishers.
Cool.
I get stuff in the mail. I get stuff in my email every day that just lets you know about new materials that are coming out.
So follow-up question, if I can. I don't mean to sound like I'm an attorney or something, but
No.
I just was wondering, since we're part of the CIN,
Yes.
you guys coordinate who's going to get, like, if all the libraries in the CIN got the same book, that'd be kind of a lot of books for our group.
We don't coordinate.
Okay, so just by happenstance.
We do coordinate on digital materials. That's something where everyone puts their money into the pot.
Yeah.
And we coordinate. There's different boards that go over the books that we're buying for that. Okay. But as far as regular materials, that's not something we coordinate. it's usually to our advantage with bestsellers that multiple libraries are buying them.
Okay,
Because then instead of just having one copy of James Patterson in the system, there's 30 of them.
right.
So it gets to our patrons a lot faster.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you. I was just
Yeah.
trying to get that in my back of my mind.
Yeah, but patrons can submit a request on our website for books that they want us to buy. And we will look through those lists monthly. I look through the children's ones, our teen and adult librarian looks through those ones. Some libraries will just buy everything that somebody requests. We take a lot of time to look at our materials, particularly because it's something where it's just, sometimes it's not just buying one book, because it's like, if it's a series, you don't just want to have book 6 of a series. So it's something where we do take a lot of time and look at it and see, okay, what books in this series do I have? Do I have any of this series? Do I not have this series at all? Oh, do I want to buy this series? Research about this series. Or do I not want to buy this series? And then looking at other avenues that we can recommend for the patron to get that book.
They might be a good resource for us to figure out what other libraries are doing based on the fact they're selling to all the libraries around the country. I'm sure they might be a good resource for us to look at other policies, I guess.
Yeah.
So Jandy, when you say we, who's we when you review these things? Is it just you and the other librarian? Is it more staff members? Who
So the librarians are the only ones that can do selecting of materials, because we're the ones that went and got our degree and have taken several classes on collection development and critical thinking and what to look for when we're reviewing a book. So at our library, currently it's me as the library director, and it's Michaela as the teen and adult librarian. When Pamela was here, we had 3 librarians. So she was the library director, and then there was myself and Sharday, or Joanne, that was the adult librarian. So at that point we had 3 people collecting materials, but right now it's just myself and Michaela, who is our new librarian.
I assume that was the case, but I just wanted to be clear. So if anybody else asked me, I'd have the right answer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
good. Okay, so when we meet in June, we will have more solid information about how we want to retool that paragraph about the
yes,
that
the
document.
selection of materials. If there's anything I think we should add or remove, or the number of things that we're going to look for.
Got it.
So I also have a call this next week with Kristen at the ALA, who was walking me through this book reconsideration process. We're going to talk about the other resources that they have as far as developing a collection development policy, and if there's any other ways that they can help us with that too. So that's another person thinking about these things with us. So
good. So one last question for you. You gave to us at the last meeting a copy of a revised reconsideration document for the process and how it would move forward. Do you want that also reviewed? Do you want to put that on hold and have this reviewed and finalized first before we go to that and finalize that particular document?
So that's a part of the collection development policy.
Right.
I feel what we've developed for that is good. My plan is to just go through the collection development policy in order. So that's the very end of our collection development policy. So once we get to that, we'll review it again and see if there's any changes that we feel like we need to make with that. But I have to say, I'm really happy with what we've developed. I felt like from rumblings that I was hearing at the meeting and on social media that people didn't feel like it was clear what they were asking.
Who's they?
So that our patron who had a complaint felt like what she was asking happened with the material wasn't clear. She had said a lot of different things, like having the book completely removed. She had said things about having a sticker added. She had said things about having it moved to a different collection. And I feel like with this new document that we've created, because it has specific sections and questions about those things, it will help us to have a clear understanding of what somebody's actual complaint is.
Their intent is. And
Yes, and what their intent is behind everything. So I feel like that part of the policy is, I'm happy with what we developed, and I think it will help make everything really clear if we have any more complaints going forward about things.
But you would like to put the stamp of approval on all of this at one time, is what I hear you saying.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Have we considered putting on the complaint that it's a requirement that you've read the book before you ask?
I don't
believe
we
they
have
would
a question of
reference-
each,
say yes, I
but we
read
don't
it.
have a question of
Right?
requirements. Yeah, I
I
do
think there's
hear
a
that as a
question about
complaint with a lot of
referencing-
them.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
I thought we had
Teresa.
added a question about them referencing specific pages within the
Yes.
book that were concerning to them. So, I mean, unless they just went on Google and picked books that are commonly requested for refusal. So,
That's what it seems like happened here.
Yes, she actually said she didn't read it. So, I mean, she just, and she could have chose not to read it for a lot of reasons. But she chose to challenge it. So she
Mhm.
did go through the process. We responded to her using the process. And so I think all that was good. And the fact that we're going to review all this stuff is important for us going forward. So we have it, things are, and we know where the ending will be and how, and the ending should be with us, the board, my opinion.
Yeah, and the ordinance is pretty clear that also that the it's 6G1. The Board of Trustees shall have the power and duty to adopt such bylaws, rules, and regulations for the guidance of the Board of Trustees and for the use of the library.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's any questions to what the duties of and the powers of the Board of Trustees are.
Right. Yeah, I agree. But also, if you look at under the state guidelines for trustees, you will notice that we are not a governing board according to the way it's been set up. We are an advisory board to the city council.
To me,
so that creates
need
a
to
little
make-
bit of issue there.
so to my understanding was a governing board also is over the money. An advisory board isn't over the money.
Correct.
So
That
to
is correct.
So to me, that's what the difference seems. So to me, it's always been that the council's over the finances and then the board's over the policies and that sort of thing, just so it's not like, I know church and state is the wrong verbiage here, but you know
Checks
what
and
I'm saying. So
balances.
checks
Yeah.
and balances, thank
separation of
you.
powers.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just bringing that up because I want to be.
Yeah.
In my own head, I want to be very clear about, the role, and so that if it ever comes up with the city council, we can be very clear and know that what we're giving, the information we're giving is accurate and is backed up by RCWs or whatever else under the guidelines for Board of Trustees in public libraries.
And Brad, do you recall, or do you have it somewhere where you can send me later what you were looking at that established what?
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you have it. Jandy, you may have this book. There's a manual, a trustee manual in the library. I think there is in the library, isn't there, Jandy, a trustee manual that has, I have a section of it in my notebook. And Kim, I've got to get you your notebook. So somehow I've got to hook up with you so I can get you your notebook.
I will be able to hook up with you this week to do that. I've had a little virus visiting my house this week.
Okay, well, I'll stay away.
so I'll be good this next coming week.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so it looks like online, the Washington Secretary of State has, library
Yes,
trustee
there's
summary,
a-
the PDF that's like 54 pages, but that's for Washington State Library.
right. Well, no, there's one for trustees in general. I'll go through and see if I can find that where I read it, and I'll get you that information. But they have the
There's
whole,
it looks like there's another public library trustee reference manual.
correct, that's it.
And that's also on the Secretary of State's page, and it
So I've sent all the information with the ordinances and to Sean to get his opinion. I sent it to him a week ago and I haven't heard back yet. So I'll touch base with him again.
Good.
I had talked to him prior to this, and he felt that it was he was thinking the same lines that we were, that it was financial, and the board was over the policy. So he had kind of been like, I don't know why it's going to the council, other than that it is in the policy that it does. So I just want to get I just wonder if when it comes down to it, he's the one that has to say that to the council, like, this is what our ordinance says.
Well, he
So I
might
want to
have
make sure
to.
he's on the same page with us.
He
and
might
that's
have to
fine.
be the person that makes that clear. I
Yeah.
mean, that would
As
be a
the
good thing.
attorney.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's going to have to tell them that as their legal representative, his
Right.
interpretation of this is X. And then if there's a further question on that, then they'll have to get other council opinion. Like council, not city council, but attorney council.
Attorney counsel.
opinion.
Anybody, any last comments about the collection policy? We will visit it further at our next meeting. And we'll work, and then we'll move forward with other sections, going on from there. Okay, so we will meet in person at the city hall in the council chambers on June 11th for our next meeting. Or we will also offer it virtually, so that it can be both, can't it, Jandy?
So Jen,
It'll be June 8th. Sorry, the 11th is a
Oh,
Saturday.
June 8th, sorry. Yeah, well, we could meet on the 11th if you want. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding, Teresa, kidding.
I'm like, do you know how crazy my life is? I have 2 kids in different baseball teams.
I
right
get
now.
it,
I
been
don't get home
there.
till 7:30.
Been there.
so Jen, do we have to meet in person, but do we
Yes.
have to do
No.
virtual as well?
It will become an option.
So it'll become an option.
Yeah.
So do we want to do both portions, or do we just want to do in person? What are you guys' thinking on that?
Well, okay, so here's my thought on that a little bit. If we
Mhm.
don't at least offer it virtual, we are eliminating public input. And I don't think we want to, get ourselves into that situation. So I
Yeah.
still think we need to, this is my personal opinion, we need to give the
Offer.
option. We can all be there, which is great, and I hope we all can, but I think we still need to have that option.
Okay, so I wanted to get everyone's opinion
Everybody
on
agree with
that.
that? Are we okay with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that's the right thing, especially if we're promoting transparency and open
Absolutely.
access.
Right.
I think this is gonna be something we gotta get used to. It's gonna be in place forever.
I agree.
I mean, I would rather not, I wouldn't have wanted to be in a city council meeting last time in person. I was much more comfortable from right here in my house. So Brad, you stuck it out. You're in there.
I get it. I love that, but I love the backup. That was good. That
Oh, yeah.
backup was great. Okay, so I have one last ask. We do have to review some board positions. If you go through your stuff like that, it says that the president is for 3 months or 4 months, and then we revolve those responsibilities. I kind of have some thoughts on that, but we do need to have someone that takes something off of Jandy's table, and that is providing meeting minutes and notes. So I'm wondering if somebody would be willing to take that off of her plate. So so she didn't have to do that every month.
That's the secretary, that's the secretary role, right?
That would be a secretary role, correct? Do I see any hands go up?
I can do that. That's fine.
Huh?
I can do that. That'll be
Oh,
fine.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So do you want me, Jandy, just to clarify, do you want me to provide the minutes from this meeting or just going forward?
Going forward for June.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. And then there's
You know
one.
what?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So Jandy, do you have your Zoom set up so that it puts the recording on the cloud?
Yes.
Okay, so if you could just send me the cloud meeting recording, I can always just rewatch it again to make sure I get everything.
No, that sounds great.
Thinking
I
I
can
missed
do that
something.
too.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, there is one other position that we have, and that is someone to be a liaison to the Friends, and they would attend Friends meetings and then report back to us. Now, fortunately for us, my wife goes to those all the time because she is the president of the Friends. But she's been willing to provide that information for us. We can continue to have that happen as long as things can stay that way, or if someone would like to.
I can do that because I just joined the Friends of the Library, so I can
Super,
take that off
Kim.
your wife's, off her plate,
Nice.
and yep.
All right.
I'll do that.
Cool. All right. And I hope you guys are all right. I kind of assumed the leadership role by default when everything was kind of in flux back in December, November. I'm willing to continue that on for a little while longer if everybody's okay with that. I'd be good.
You're
If you
doing
could-
great, Brad.
All
Yeah,
right, well, I
sure.
appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I am so happy to have 5 people that have the experience that all you guys have. And I think this is going to mean a lot for the library going forward. As I've told Jandy, the goal, I think, for us is to get that library what it needs to continue to provide the services that it does for our community, because it's going to grow, and those services, something's got to give. And if we don't address it, we don't want it to be what the library can continue to do. So any other comments or things to add? Now going forward, if you have an agenda request going forward, could you send that to either myself or Jandy? We meet the week before we meet, and then we lay out the agenda. So if you have any ideas or thoughts that you want to see put on the agenda, please email that to her or myself. Sorry, we went a little bit longer today, but I tried it, but it was necessary, I think.
Do you want the information for any of us researching the codes or the additional policy review stuff? Do you want us to send that via email before the meeting so people have time to review? Do you want to just address it in the next meeting?
My personal opinion is that I would like you to, if you have things that you want to put in that portion of the to support what we're doing with the policy, I would appreciate it if you could send it out to all of us so we could kind of look at that, so we're ready to go when we meet up again and we can.
Great.
Yeah.
Quick,
Yes,
quick
Tim.
question or just a statement. I think we got to be careful. We're not going to make any decisions on those emails. We just need to make a
Right.
decision at the meeting.
Right.
And then we'll
Yeah.
make sure all that information is public so we can make sure that everybody's got input on it at that time.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I
Or just
think
say something like for the board to review.
Right.
at the next meeting. This is
The
the
next meeting.
materials ahead of time for us to review at the next meeting.
Right. And then from that point on, I think it's important for us not to respond and say, I think this, I think this. I think we say, thank you for the information, and we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
Correct.
Perfect.
Thank you, Tim. Good point. Okay, then I will officially adjourn our meeting. Thank you. See you in a month.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.